and welcome to Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. Our title sponsor is Groves Family Dealerships here in Everman, Texas. I'm with former Mustang wide receiver Drew Doherty. I'm Mason Doherty here to bring you tonight's game. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we're going to go ahead and get you a quick recap as Grapevine started with the ball. Everman had the toss, but they ended up giving the ball to Grapevine to receive to start out our game. And then Grapevine had an incomplete pass to start out to Brody Hunter, and then a 1-yard carry by Graham. Ended up in a 15-yard run by Jalen Holmes to pick up a first down. But then after a holding penalty, and then actually Dylan Foster getting involved with an 11-yard run, still the Grapevine was not able to come up with a first down after an incomplete pass to Rylan Goen. So now Everman takes over here at 7:45 left in our first quarter. The Everman Bulldogs 0-2 here tonight, while Grapevine picking up their first win in 667 days last week in that win against Birdville, as they are now 1-1, and we enter district play in District 3 5A Division II tonight. So now it's Everman, 3rd and 2, ball at their own 37-yard line. It's a carry up the middle. And it looks like Grapevine's got the quarterback swallowed up. That's Dawson Smith, that's the quarterback. Tackle made by Tatum Evans. Get about the line of scrimmage and 4th down upcoming.
The strong linebacker crew from Grapevine showing what their ability to stop the run once again.
It's the identity of this Grapevine defense, Drew, for sure. So now 6:50 left in our first quarter. Our first quarter brought to you by Stacy Furniture. 4th and 2, and the offense stays on the field for the Bulldogs. And it's a run by Dawson on that right side. It's going to be close. And based off where the referee is, they're going to say first down.
Yeah, that far ref looked like he had the right spot, moved the chains for Everman.
Well, it looks like what the Bulldogs want to do right now is just keep it simple. Go ahead, keep the ball with their quarterback, Dawson Smith, the senior, who also has about 100 yards rushing so far in the early part of this season.
And they're looking to get this offense clicking after the first 2 weeks. No points scored yet, but they were coming into this game with that goal in mind.
Absolutely.
Get that offense going a little bit.
Everman has been outscored 105-0 in these last 2 games to open up the season, including losing 45-0 against Stephenville last week, who is a very talented 4A Division I team in Stephenville. So now it's about 6 minutes left in our first quarter. 0-0 our score. Everman converting on that 4th and 2. So first down from the 40. A rush up the middle, bounces out to the right side, and then eventually brought down just before the 40-yard line. That was Jalen Carson on the tackle. LeBron Bodie with the carry.
Yeah, good job by getting on the outside there, getting some space, getting down the field in Grapevine territory.
So now Everman with their biggest play of the night so far in the early part of tonight's game. Again, wanting to try to establish the running game is what we've seen so far. This is an offense, like Drew was saying, still trying to find those first points of the game, and they're getting close as they're inside the 40 now. Tackle made by Dalen Collins, who's had himself a nice campaign so far this year. Blocked that punt on the first game of the season against Wakeland. Not the biggest guy on the field, but definitely can lay a punch.
Yeah, makes some of the biggest impact plays.
Absolutely. One of the harder hitters that you'll find on this Grapevine defense. So Everman now has a 2nd and 5, 4:53 left in the first quarter. Ball at the 37-yard line. Let's see if Grapevine wants to bring a little heat here. Again, it's a carry up the middle, and Tatum Evans slams the door shut with a nice tackle.
Yeah, heck of a job by Tatum Evans there, getting up the middle of the line and getting that push and not letting the running back get to that second level.
Absolutely, that running back Davian Miles again met Tatum Evans right at the point of attack. This linebacker crew goes from left to right in the starting lineup here. Harrison Bargy, along with Tatum Evans, we mentioned his name a couple times, Luke Gormley, and also Cooper Towery, which I'm sure we'll be talking about him all throughout tonight. So now it's 3rd and 4, ball at the 36-yard line. Again, it's a run by Dawson Smith, and he runs into a gang of Mustangs, including Cedric Hicks and also Tatum Sneed, who really came out on the scene on defense last week, forcing that fumble against Birdville.
Yeah, Cedric Hicks, Taylor Sneed, week in, week out, making plays on that defensive line and impacting the run offense right there.
Yep, solid combo between those two. That defensive line, starting lineup for the Mustangs, it's Lucas Vanderville, Cedric Hicks, as we just mentioned about, and Jake Cockram as well. So the offense stays on the field, 4th and 8 for the Bulldogs. Smith rolls out, gets slipped up by the turf monster, and it looks like his knee was down, and so Grapevine will take over on downs.
I get going for it there. You're kind of in no man's land, well too far out for a field goal, and then kind of in that no man's land to punt. So I kind of get the decision there, but like you said, the turf monster got him, and a little unassisted sack there.
Yeah, absolutely, and Grapevine was ready there as well. So the starting lineup for the Grapevine offense goes like this. Their starting quarterback, Jalen Holmes, along with running back Jake Graham. We'll also see Jaime Sanchez too. The wide receivers, Brody Hunter, Rylan Goen, Luke Stewart, Rayming Zhao, and then at tight end, Brady Kays. First down and 10 from the 45. Sanchez on that left side. Doesn't get much, maybe just about to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Daniel Dixon. That starting offensive line for Grapevine at left tackle. Jackson Rakisha at left guard. Andres Garcia at center. Will Mason at right guard. Hunter Lux, and at right tackle, Tatum Sneed. As we said, a great two-way player for the Mustangs. So 2nd and 9 for Grapevine. As we close in on 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first. Again, our first quarter brought to you by Stacy Furniture, title sponsor tonight, Grubbs Family of Dealerships. So Jalen Holmes gets the ball out. It's going on that right side. He's going to be able to pick up a first down on a gain of 11.
Yeah, good job by Jalen Holmes there with the RPO. Obviously, have the option of giving it to the running back. Jaime Sanchez decided to get it out to Rylan Goen and going up the field.
Yeah, that's Jalen Holmes. Yeah, absolutely. Him able to get that ball out, was pressured there. And Rylan Goen, he's got quite a story here. He popped his collarbone in the spring of this year, but was able to recover over the offseason and has been a major factor for the Mustangs this year, already with 12 catches this season. So now it's 2:30 left in the first. Goen again, he's got a lead blocker in front. And he gets brought down from behind at the 40, and there's a flag thrown in the vicinity of where that tackle was.
Yeah, possibly a late hit out of bounds, potentially, on that Grapevine sideline as well.
So we'll see what the call is. I could imagine maybe a horse collar, or it definitely was a tackle from behind.
But one thing you can say is this offense is trying to get Rylan going.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
2 back-to-back plays, feeding him the rock.
Yep. The 6-foot, 160-pound senior, already with over 100 yards receiving this season, averaging about 9 yards a catch. And they're going to say holding, actually, on Grapevine.
Likely a receiver hold, I'm guessing, with the receiver screen, little receiver swing route.
That is the one risk that you run when you do run that play. Absolutely, Drew. It looks like they're going to back it up here.
21, holding on the offense, number 17. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So for Grapevine, that's already 2 holding penalties tonight. I'm sure Grapevine fans are probably already having PTSD from all the flags they saw last week against Birdville. That was a game where we talked to head coach Ryan Smith and the Mustangs, and he said that was actually a college crew that was reffing that game last week. He's very familiar with them from his time over at East Texas Baptist. He thought they might have called the game a little too closely.
Yeah, you could say they had their fingerprints on it for sure.
First down and 18. So now Holmes out to a wide receiver screen. That was to Luke Stewart, who was almost dragged down as he was catching that ball.
A little extracurricular at the end of the play there. No flags.
Yeah, I was surprised that we didn't see maybe a pass interference. It looked like he was draped all over as he was catching that ball, Drew.
Yeah, what the ref must have been seeing there is behind 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. Fair play there. Good job by the secondary being there and making an impact on the catch.
Well, so far tonight we've seen Grapevine want to try to get the ball out in space, get the ball out quickly. Coach Smith said at the beginning of the season, the philosophy of this offense is get that ball out within 3 seconds.
And you could really see that last week against Birdville right off the bat.
2nd and 17, Sanchez in motion. Holmes finds open receiver at the 45, but you know what? The closing speed of the defense was able to knock that ball away. Pass was intended for Chase Carter.
Yeah, great play by Barrington Strickland there. Jalen Holmes found his receiver in that little soft spot in the zone. Strickland was able to come get in there and break up that pass.
Yeah, Strickland, senior, who had 39 tackles, 3 interceptions last year, is a 4-year varsity player, and also we'll see him on offense as well. One of the more talented players on this Bulldogs crew. So now it's 3rd and 17, 35 seconds left. Our score 0-0 here in Everman, Texas at J.E. Mars Stadium. It's the 6th play of the drive upcoming. Holmes steps up and wants to go deep. It's in double coverage, but it's overthrown anyways. The intended receiver was Luke Stewart. On the coverage was Michael Lockhart.
Yeah, Grapevine offense continue to be aggressive there. Not really playing the sticks, kind of going for the home run ball. Granted, they had quite a ways to go for the first down. Jalen Holmes threw it up to his guy.
Well, and Holmes had time, too. The offensive line was able to put together a pocket, which I'm sure offensive line coach Clark would be really pleased with. I know Coach Smith is very fond of him. So now it's 4th and 17. The ball goes over the head of Jalen Holmes. He's pressured. He's going to try to get away, and that ball goes sky high into the night. And they're going to spot this in a very favorable field position for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it looks like we may have a negative net gain punt there due to the pressure in the drop snap.
Yeah, it looks like it might be, as that ball is on the 37-yard line. And so for Grapevine, they're in a tough spot here. Want to make sure that we also go through the starting secondary for Grapevine. The corners we mentioned about already, Dalen Collins. Also on the other side, Linnell Randolph. And then the safeties, Maddox Broyles and Jalen Carson. So 9 seconds left in the first. And then it's a handoff up the middle, and Cooper Towery's there to meet him. Only a gain of 1 yard. Carry made by Davian Miles.
Yeah, just to go back on this linebacking crew, the seniors, you can tell they've really bought into the new coaching and to the new regime here at Grapevine. And sometimes you don't see that when a new coach comes in. The senior class may be on their way out already. You can tell this group here with Tatum Evans, Cooper Towery, Luke Wormley, and Harrison Barton, these guys have bought in.
They definitely are. And we'll take a break here as that's the end of our first quarter. Our score 0-0 here in Everman, Texas between the Grapevine Mustangs and the Everman Bulldogs as you are watching a production of Mustang Friday Night on Tradio.
Generosity helps us provide value for our athletes in our community. Let's hear it from McDonald's for going above and beyond to back the Everman Bulldogs.
Which one do you need? Offense? Just the offense.
Another pick from New York. After 3.5, Texas 6, the men's 3.
And we bring you back to Everman, Texas, where the Grapevine Mustangs taking on the Everman Bulldogs in our district opener. And Dawson on that left side makes a man miss, and he's got space. He's going to be able to run away from the entire defense. He does. Touchdown, Bulldogs. A 35-yard touchdown run. Looks like, though, there might be a flag. And I think I just saw where it's going to be face mask on Grapevine. See if we get the call downstairs, but for Grapevine giving up the opening touchdown of the night, and for Everman getting their first points of the season here in 2025.
That's got to feel good for that Everman offense.
So Dawson Smith, who we've seen a lot of here tonight, so far on the ground. Get the call downstairs.
Doing a run, face mask on the defense. That'll be assist on the kickoff.
So for the Bulldogs, they will go ahead and apply that penalty when they kick off. Back to Grapevine, but the offense, well, I say that, but it looks like here in this case, the Bulldogs will attempt the extra point. It's Soria Alvarez Holmes, who the ball was actually blocked, and it's recovered by Grapevine. So in this case, it's only 6-0 to score here in Everman. And we'll go ahead and take a short break and bring you back some more action with only 11:50 here in the second quarter. You are watching a production of Mustang Friday Night, title sponsor Grubbs Family of Dealerships. And we welcome you back to Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. Our score 6-0. That two-score playing drive by the Everman Bulldogs, thanks to the partially blocked punt. The ball started on the Grapevine's 32-yard line, and 2 plays later, it was capped off by a 35-yard touchdown run by quarterback Dawson Smith. And then credit Dawson Smith too, Drew. I mean, the way that he was able to break some tackles and then eventually finish it off with a nice spin move too.
Yeah, kept going. He was going to get through that. He had a mission to get across the goal line there.
So now it's a short kick that's fielded at the 25. That's Cooper Towery as he takes a pop, able to hang on to the ball, and the ball will be placed at about the 34-yard line. So for Grapevine, their head coach, Ryan Smith, who's replacing Bob DeBez, who was here for 2 seasons. Coach Smith, a former East Texas Baptist University offensive coordinator for 1 season before coming on to Grapevine. He was also an offensive coordinator for Midlothian Heritage in 2022, where he helped them with an 11-2 record and eventually losing to South Oak Cliff in the 3rd round of the playoffs. But that usually happens to a lot of teams when they go up against South Oak Cliff. So now it's Ty Johnson that is in the game, and he hands the ball off to Jake Graham, and Jake Graham falls forward to about the 41-yard line.
Number 9, Jake Graham, tells about 18.
So Jake Graham, we talked to Coach Smith about just how physical he is and how well he is built running in between the tackles. And he talked about always focusing on getting hit on your hip. Because if you get hit on your hip as a ball carrier, Drew, we talked about this, you're always trying to fall forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where those summer workouts come in play with those squat racks. You know, they can bounce right off the thigh and miss the tackles.
2nd and 2 now. It's Johnson. He wants to go through the air, and it's incomplete over the head of Luke Stewart. Coverage by Barrington Strickland. So Luke Stewart already with 1 catch tonight. And for him this season, he already has 7 receptions, which is almost half of the amount of catches he had last year at a total of 15.
Yeah, they've really done a good job of getting these receivers going, Luke Stewart especially. Having this kind of offense with Jake Graham and Jaime Sanchez in the backfield opens opportunities for these receivers to get open, and that RPO offense.
Absolutely. 3rd and 2 now for the Mustangs. Ty Johnson hands it off to Graham. Graham up the middle, falls forward right about the 49-yard line. Good for a 1st down, gain of 7.
Yeah, good tough run in there by Jake Graham. Moving the chains, hitting across the just at the 49, almost 50.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. Back on here. 10:34 left in the second quarter. Our score is 6-0 here. 1st down and 10 for the Mustangs. Ty Johnson, that quarterback for this drive. He hands it off to Jake Graham. Jake Graham thunders his way for a gain of 2. Runs into Michael Donald, one of the defensive linemen for the Bulldogs. So we've seen a healthy dose of Jake Graham so far on this drive.
Yeah, definitely trying to get the run game going and get some big plays out of Jake Graham and Tommy Sanchez.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 combo that we've seen a lot this year, and for defenses, it's a lot to handle. Put that much mass coming right at you. And then Ty Johnson wants to go through the air on the left sidelines, and it's going to be incomplete. Intended receiver was Brody Hunter. And coverage was Michael Lockhart, who was hip for hip with Brody Hunter.
Yeah, it's a good matchup between the secondary, the Everman secondary, and the Grapevine receivers so far to start this first half.
9:43 left in the second. Grapevine at the 49-yard line of Everman's. 3rd and 8 upcoming. Now Brody Hunter is got one-on-one coverage here on the near side. Press coverage by the Bulldogs. Chase Carter was in motion. Johnson steps up, wants to go deep. It looks like there was some miscommunication between him and the receiver, Luke Stewart.
Yeah, you had Luke Stewart kind of stop short over there, like you said, miscommunication, and then Brody Hunter on our side of the field kind of ran a hitch route on that one-on-one coverage. So,
well, it looks like Grapevine has been wanting to take some shots deep, and we've seen that a handful of times so far here tonight. But unfortunately for the Mustangs, have just not been able to connect. It's either unfortunately been thrown in double coverage or just been overthrown, or in this case, miscommunication as well. Jalen Hunter punts this one away. It's a lot cleaner of an exchange, and the punt is muffed and then received again by the Bulldogs and then pushed out of bounds near the 24-yard line.
We got to go back on that note on the Grapevine offense. A little too much air under the ball to start the game. That can happen first, not first game, but pre-game jitters going into getting yourself comfortable in this first half.
Well, we go through our key storylines. Again, we have technical difficulties, and we didn't have a chance to do this when we first got started here, but we talked about the penalties, lowering on those if you're a Mustang fan. Stay out of the penalty box, if you will, with all the penalties that happened last week against Birdville. But also, too, it's about spreading the wealth, which it looks like Grapevine's trying to do with its receivers, get a lot of people involved. That's always been Coach Smith's philosophy. And then for defensively, keep everything in front of you and come up with some key tackling, which so far here tonight, it's been a little bit up and down on that. But speaking of good tackling, Luke Gormley is there to meet the ball carrier and bring him down immediately.
Yeah, if Grapevine's going to keep everything in front of them and execute that game plan, it's going to start with this senior linebacking crew.
They are the heart and soul of this defense. And it's a smart group, too. Coach Smith was telling me that their average SAT score for the linebacker crew is a 1,250. Which,
not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah. When you have the quarterbacks of the defense, some say, good to have some high IQ there.
Well, it also makes sense, too. Cooper Towery is a commit to Harding University, too. So Dawson Smith on that left side, again, looks very repetitive to their big run that went for a 35-yard touchdown. And in this case, the Bulldogs will pick up a first down. That looks like there might be a flag on the play.
A possible illegal formation, not too many receivers on the ball.
Remind everyone our second quarter is brought to you by Compass Church. Title sponsor tonight, Grove's family of dealerships.
Offsides on the defense. Decline the penalty. First down.
So the Bulldogs will pick up the first down on their own. Decline that penalty. 8:35 left on our first half here in Everman, Texas. Just a little south of Fort Worth. And that's a handoff on that left side. And in the tackle is Luke Gormley. And it looks like it might have been Taden Sneed as well. Luke Gormley, the team's leading tackler coming into tonight's game with 21. 6'2", 220-pound senior. Had a phenomenal year last year for a defense that really held on in a few games. It just was missing that one last big play in order to get that win that they were so badly missing last season. Again, picked up their first win since November of 2023 last week against Birdville. 2nd and 11 now, 7:44 left in the first half. Smith. And, oh, it's intercepted.
Right on cue, Asen, making big plays.
Intercepted at about the 42-yard line. Interception. I want to say that was by Luke Gormley. So we're going to say Luke Gormley, but you, Drew, you might be saying that it might have been Jalen Carson.
I'm thinking the free safety might
Jalen
have crashed down
Okay.
and kind of just swooped in and stole that ball, and the quarterback, Dawson Smith, didn't have eyes on him.
Unfortunately, here tonight, no instant replay for you. Typically, we do here on Tradio, but we're going to say that was actually Jalen Carson from the secondary coming down and coming up with that key interception.
Right on cue. We were just talking about big plays for this Grapevine defense last week with the game-saving or game-ending interception, and then week 1 with the block punt on special teams. Can really change the pace of a game.
Now Jalen Holmes back at quarterback. Hand off to Graham on that right side, able to find a gap, and he's going to pick up not only a first down, but they're going to have him for a gain of 17. The biggest play of the night for Grapevine. So again, coming off that interception, first down brought to you by Pat White, State Farm. Grapevine now driving deep into the Bulldogs territory, the most they've done so far here tonight with 7:28 left in the first half. Hand off to Graham again, and Graham is brought down immediately from behind. That was a pretty athletic play there by Mikel Donald.
Yeah, great play there by Mikel Donald, running down the line of scrimmage from the far side and chasing down the running back.
What's the quickest way to get to someone?
Straight line.
Straight line, absolutely. So 2nd and 11 now for Grapevine. Substitutions being made. Raymond Zhao and also Brody Hunter coming onto the field. We saw a lot of Raymond Zhao in the second half of the first game against Frisco Wakeland. So now it's Holmes in the shotgun. He's got pressure in front of his face, able to get the ball out immediately to Goen. Can Goen outrun the rest of the defense? No, he's going to be brought down at about the 10-yard line, but it's going to be another first down for the Mustangs, down at about the 10.
Good job by Jalen Holmes, taking what the defense has given him, able to find Riley Goen sitting in that zone, and Riley Goen with some yards after catch.
And getting that ball out quickly, and a lot of pressure in the face of Holmes. So 6:20 left in the second. They drop the stick, so it's going to be 1st and goal from the 10. Hand off to Graham. Tries to cut up field. Brought down at the 5 for a 5-yard gain. There for a second, it looked like he was going to break that off.
Yeah, I think if he would have just stayed a little bit, half a second for those blockers to kind of get in front of him, he would have hit that. He hit the seam, but it was just a little too early, I think.
Yeah, this offensive line for the Mustangs, Coach Smith refers to them as a pretty fun group, very intelligent too. A lot of smart players on this Mustang roster. From talking to Coach Smith, just mentioned about the linebackers too. So now 2nd and goal from the 4. And it's going to be a carry on that right side by Jake Graham again. He's going to be brought down at the 3. Bring up a 3rd and short.
Now you wonder if you're going to see maybe a package with Cooper Towery coming in, in this goal line formation here.
That is what we have seen a few times in this early part of the season. This Mustang offense is averaging 171 yards on the ground per game. Now 3rd and goal from the 3. Holmes and Graham in the backfield. And it's a pitch out to Graham. Graham is actually stoned right at the 3. That was an excellent play again by Michael Lockhart.
Great play by the defense there. For Jake Graham, it's a race to the pylon on the outside, and Everman secondary able to keep contained and keep him from getting there.
So now the offense stays on the field. And for Grapevine, looks like they're going to keep the same personnel on the field as the last play. So here we go. Graham in motion. To the right of Holmes. And now we have a whistle. See what the call is. Looks like it might be a timeout.
Timeout, Everman. That's the first choice timeout I have.
And we'll take one ourselves, a real quick one, and we'll come back with this 4th and goal from the 3. 6-0 here. Everman leads against Grapevine. Oh, okay. Are you ready? Ready? I'm going to bring you back. Okay. And we welcome you back to Mustang Friday Night, presented by Grubbs Family of Dealerships here on Tradio. So now Grapevine actually will flip the script, and they're going to come out with a field goal attempt by Austin Schilling. So it's going to be a 19-yard field goal attempt. Ball is spotted. Kick is away. Oh, it's blocked. It's blocked by the Bulldogs. The Grapevine was able to fall on it. So we've seen block kicks from both teams now. Grapevine had the block on the extra point, and now the Bulldogs have the block on the 19-yard field goal attempt. So now the Bulldogs will take over 4:19 left in our first half. So, Drew, we were talking about Towery on that previous play, and did you say that you saw him running down the sidelines?
He was right by the coach, just making sure if his number is going to get called that he will be ready to get out there. But, yeah, they went with the field goal there.
Well, and how tonight is going, it's a offensive struggle right now so far. I mean, the defense from both sides has been able to shine, and I think Coach Smith looks at this as an opportunity to gain some points, but unfortunately for Mustang fans, that is not the case, and Everman will take over here at their homecoming tonight. And we were just talking about it. Seems like homecoming comes a week earlier every year for these high school teams.
It sure does.
So Everman will take over at the 19-yard line. Here in the second quarter, brought to you by Compass Church. For the Bulldogs, it's really been the Dawson Smith show. And it's not been through the air, even though he is their quarterback. It's been more of just being patient, really, Drew, and just waiting for his blockers and putting on a few juke moves and spin moves at the same time.
Yeah, getting to the outside.
We'll be at the 8-yard line. Everman, 1st and 10 at the 8-yard line.
So it looks like actually they're going to spot this ball at the 8-yard line, since that was where the ball was recovered technically by Grapevine, even though it's going to be a turnover on downs.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'd say that these, you got to take the points there. You want to take the points, especially, going into before going into halftime. Just wasn't able to keep it tame. But back on Dawson Smith, he's been able to get to the outside. Receivers are doing a good job blocking for him, and like you said, making one or two moves and getting free.
Yeah, very elusive. And keep in mind, too, that the Bulldogs will receive the ball in the second half, too. Carry up the middle, but runs into a wall of Mustangs. Leading that wall is Cedric Hicks. And also Jaron Butts Jr. Coach Smith talked about having more of a rotation with his defensive line to keep players fresh. In a perfect world, he liked to have about 6 or 8 guys that he can rotate in.
That's how you see these college programs and the NFL do it. It's almost like a hockey line change.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Well, we got hockey season coming here pretty soon. I'm sure defensive coordinator Freddie Smalls likes that rotation when they're being extra productive. His first year at Grapevine, also the linebackers coach. 2nd and 9. And Dawson Smith on that left side after the fake handoff, and he is roped down at the 9. There is a flag on the play. So we'll see what the call is downstairs. Looks like it might be against the Bulldogs. with 3:20 left in the first half. Here's the call.
Holding on the offense, number 72, half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
Well, Drew, here's the case here. If you're Grapevine, absolutely you would have had those 3 points. You would love to have them. But in this case here, you have the Bulldogs pinned deep for the first time. Could be a golden opportunity here.
Yeah, big. These next 2 plays are going to be pretty big. Couldn't imagine, if Everman gets on a 4th down that's backed up, that they'll con it away.
It's a high snap, but Dawson Smith is able to bring it down, but Grapevine's able to meet the ball carrier, maybe about the 2-yard line this time. In on that tackle again was Jaron Butts Jr. Been pretty active here tonight, and he sticks out on that defensive line, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now it brings up 3rd and 14 from the 2-yard line. This will be the 4th play of the drive. Approaching about 10 seconds left on the play clock. 2:42 left. For the Bulldogs, you think that we're going to probably be conservative here and just make sure they don't get tackled in their own end zone. There is movement, though, on the line of scrimmage. And it's going to be false start on the Bulldogs.
So even less breathing room.
So with that being said, if you're Grapevine, you got to be pinning your ears back and looking to possibly make a play and maybe cause a safety.
Yeah, absolutely, and just making sure that the guys in the back end are nothing over their heads, nothing behind them, and see if they can get 2 points out of this and a punt.
False start on the offense, number 58, half the distance to the goal. Third down.
So definitely the Everman fans are a little disappointed in these flags going against them. But for Grapevine fans, it's probably a nice change of pace for them compared to last week.
Yeah, and it's something to keep an eye on this play is the jump by the D-line. Just seeing to get that initial push, and maybe you got any blitzers maybe coming from the outside with Cooper Towery and Harrison Bargy.
Well, you got Jack Cochran down there along with Jaron Butts Jr., the junior at that defensive line position. Also Cedric Hicks. And it looks like the play clock actually goes down to 0. Let's see if the Bulldogs get a timeout in.
Everman, that's the second charge timeout of the half.
And they do, and we'll take one ourselves with the score 6-0, 2:06 left in the first half. You're watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. Yeah, but we're running it through the cameras. Yeah, you're good. Here, actually, you know what? Could. Here. Hey, Philip, is there a way to get just a little bit more crowd volume? Okay, cool. And we welcome you back to Everman, Texas, where the Everman Bulldogs are basically at their 2-yard line. A 3rd and 16 upcoming. And for them, they just want to get out of their own end zone in the single back formation. Grapevine showing pressure. It's a rush up the middle. They're going to be able to get out of harm's way, get up to about the 6. Tackle made by Luke Gormley. So the Bulldogs now will be forced to punt. And, Drew, with
You put 2 minutes on the clock. This is the 2-minute timeout. 2-minute timeout.
So we have a 2-minute timeout. As we were talking about that earlier this year. You gotta have to make sure that you change that up between that and the 2-minute warning.
Right.
With the NFL and college and high school. But you know what? We'll keep it right here for you all since we just went to break and now we're back here in the second quarter. Brought to you by Compass Church, our title sponsor, Grubbs family of dealerships. Well, Drew, looks like obviously the Bulldogs are going to be wanting to punt here on 4th down. And with the way that special teams has been tonight, that could be quite a mystery.
Yeah, I would say that in that huddle for Grapevine, special teams huddle, I'd say they're going after the punter, really Galen Collins. And then just trying to get that block for sure. putting pressure on that punter to get it off.
Well, Dalen Collins had that block punt against Wakeland, ended up in a touchdown on that play. And then also you go back to last week, I know it was a field goal, but it was still special teams. Cooper Towery had that blocked field goal and ran it down for, let's call it technically a touchdown.
Yes.
So now it's 4th and 10 as the punter for the Bulldogs, Michael Victoria, punting from his own end zone. Luke Stewart at the 40.
Yeah, the punter's not very deep.
And Dalen Collins almost comes up with a block there. Stewart able to fair catch that one at the 34-yard line. So Grapevine is going to get the best field position that they've received to start a drive tonight. And with 1:55 left, they got plenty of time. And they have all 3 timeouts, too.
Yes, playbook is definitely wide open right here for the Grapevine offense. Having all 3 timeouts under 2 minutes, you can really just kind of throw anything and keep the defense guessing.
The offensive coordinator for Grapevine, Derek Sides, got to be excited about this field position. The wide receiver coach, former coach at Midlothian Heritage as well, just like head coach Ryan Smith. So it's 1st and 10, and Jalen Holmes in the backfield along with Jaime Sanchez. Sanchez up the middle and will pick up about 1. So we've seen, again, as always, a combo of Jaime Sanchez and Jake Graham. But for the Bulldogs, other than maybe about a run or two, have been able to contain the run game for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely, through the inside and the outside.
2nd and 9, 1:28 left in the first half. Late exchange, no, he gets it out to going, almost makes a man miss. Credit to the tackle of Jawari Stafford.
Yeah, that might have been a touchdown save and tackle because a great play. Great play by Jalen Holmes reading that RPO.
Yeah, going to your point, looked like he might have been just one man away from breaking that one loose. And Grapevine will call a timeout, and we will call one ourselves here. 6-0 our score with 1:18 left. You are watching Mustang Friday Night, presented by Grubbs Family Dealerships on Tradio. Welcome you back where Grapevine is now faced with a 3rd and 5 after spending their first timeout of the first half. We're seeing that rotation at quarterback between Ty Johnson and Jalen Holmes, as now Holmes is in the backfield with Sanchez. Holmes on that late exchange to Sanchez, and Sanchez, credit to him, able to dive forward for as much yards as he could. He's still going to be about 3 yards short of the first down marker.
Yeah, but I think that exchange that you mentioned there kind of cost that play a bit, slowed down the process, and kind of stalled the run a bit there. And that's kind of what happens when you have these interchangeable running backs.
So now it's 4th down. Grapevine stays on the field. It's 4th and 3. There are flags, though, that are just thrown. So now Grapevine kicks themselves in the foot here with that penalty to bring them back 5. And I'm sure now, Drew, that definitely changes up the play that you want to run now.
Right, and it does, but they're in a situation where they're kind of in no man's land, like Everman was in the first half, where they decided to go for it instead of punting it. It's going to be interesting what they decide to do here.
So Grapevine, in this case, does call a timeout. They had 2 left, so they avoid that 10-second runoff with it being under 2 minutes. So they'll have 1 left with 52 seconds left. So if you're Grapevine here, Drew, I mean, you're now stuck with a 4th and 7. And so far tonight, we've seen a little bit of Rylan going. But for Luke Stewart, who I believe only has 1 catch and was on that wide receiver screen, this might be that play where you get him involved. He is typically more of the big-time receiver for Grapevine. We saw that last week in that game against Birdville in that big touchdown catch from Ty Johnson to Luke Stewart.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to draw something up for your playmakers. Luke Stewart being one of them. Wondering if maybe they do a little outside route to get him on the border and get a completion, pass it to move the chains.
So Luke Stewart on the far side. Looks like they might be giving him one-on-one coverage here as that free safety's more in the box on what now is being called a 4th and 8. Holmes picks up the low snap. It's a turnaround play to Rylan Goen, and Goen's going to try to find a lane, but he is stopped just before the 30-yard line. The Bulldogs were ready. So it was a reverse play that looks like maybe for a chance had something going, but the Bulldogs defense has been there to stop Grapevine, and so in this case now the Bulldogs will take over on downs.
Everman defense wasn't fooled at all. Their secondary down the field each had a hat on a hat with the receivers. No one was open, no options for Rylan Goen other than just try to shoot it upfield and get it with his legs.
So it's a turnover on downs. Grapevine started that drive on their Bulldogs 34-yard line. Again, we mentioned the best fielding position for them tonight, and 5 plays later, a turnover on downs. So with 41 seconds left, the Bulldogs, you just imagine, would probably run out this clock here, and Dawson Smith just takes a licking from Tatum Evans. Maybe for a gain of 1. I mean, for someone who's trying to run out the clock, Smith definitely did just take a beating there on that drive.
They were going towards the football, too. They were trying to get after that. Good ball security by Dawson Smith there.
Talked about how ferocious this linebacker crew is, really the leadership core of this defense that performed really well last year. Yet Harrison Bargy moved back to the linebacker position from earlier on. Tatum Evans, who has experience both the defensive line and linebacker position. Luke Gormley and Cooper Towery, of course. And with that, they are going to run out the clock here, and that is the end of our first half. With our score 6-0, Bulldogs lead over the Mustangs. We'll take you to our halftime show where we have the bands playing out on the field, get you some ads going as well, and then we will come back with some more football. Our halftime sponsor is brought to you by Chill, and our title sponsor here tonight brought to you by Grubbs Family of Dealerships, as you are watching a Mustang Friday night presentation by Tradio.
Please welcome the Grapevine
presents our Grapevine High School Phillies dance team. The Phillies wish to extend a special thank you to our sponsors, Division Dance Productions, Harlan House and Dance, Cotton Papery, Terry Costa's, First Choice Savings Stores. Go Grapevine!
I can bring it back. Testing, 1, 2. You're talking to him?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Do it again.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Mustang fans in the direction of Pink Threes, Ryan Andre, Jackson Sainsbury. Discussion is started by Ken Hines and Kenny Joe. Color card started by Manuel Rebel. Personal Grapevine High School Dr. Alex Senior Director, Fine Arts, Grapevine College Site. Mustang fans would like to extend a special thank you to all of our former sponsors. Thanks to our community administration, and as always, go Mustangs!
Life moves fast, but protecting what matters shouldn't be complicated. At Graymark Insurance, we make home and auto coverage simple, affordable, and built around you. Old-fashioned service, uncommon speed, that's the Graymark promise. Visit mygraymark.com today and learn more. Again, that's mygraymark.com.
American power. Texas Drive. Classic Chevrolet. #1 in the world. Limited time. A special selection of new Chevys. More than anyone. All priced below market value. Plus, pre-owned values are up again. We're paying top dollar for trades. You could upgrade to a lower payment. Get started now at ClassicChevrolet.com.
Junior Princess and Prince, Miss Marley Revilla Cisneros, Mr. Jesus Duvall. Arlington's greatest planner of the ball game. She's the daughter of Myra Cisneros and Theodora Revilla. She's an all-Big Volleyball Soccer Club of FCLA and is an early college student. Her favorite high school memory is getting to experience different things and creating memories, especially from playing the sports that she loves and creating lasting bonds. Zeus is the son of Miriam and Jesus Duvall. He plays baseball and is in the National Honor Society, a band, upper-bound, and an early college student. When we got second place overall at the Cowtown Classic Marching Contest for band, that was his big memory. Thank you, juniors, for setting an example for what all should be. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our 2025 homecoming senior king and queen nominees. Our first couple this evening is Miss Ariana Brown and Mr. Jakar Brown. Ariana is the daughter of Dickie and Billy Brown. She is the head color guard captain of powerlifter in NYLC. Her favorite high school memory was last year's homecoming when she, Soraya, Andre, all dressed up as Drewski from England and went around school dancing for students and staff. Next year she plans to attend HBCU, college, study psychology, and pursue majorette dance and color guard. Jakar is the son of Lamika Richardson. His extracurriculars include basketball, cross country, and track. His future memories, memories are all sport bus rides. His future plans are to go to Texas State and study kinesiology. Our second couple is Miss Emily Enriquez and Mr. Leonel Flores. Emily is the daughter of Araceli Hernandez and Javier Enriquez. She's in band, tennis, upper-bound, and early college. Her favorite high school memory was when we made it to the playoffs last year in tennis and getting to the second round of the playoffs. Next year, she plans to go to college to study chemical science, and she wants to be a veterinarian. Leonel is the son of Jesus Flores and Patricia Riccio. He is in color guard, FCLA, TAB, and NHS. His favorite high school memory is when I got told I was getting switched from band to color Tia Harris and Brandon Johnson. She is a fellow National Society and FCCLA. Her favorite high school memory was when she played softball her freshman and sophomore year. Next year, she plans to attend LSU and seek a field of studies to become a dermatologist. Eric is the son of Beatrice Rodriguez. He is a school and personal photographer and involved cross-country tennis up and down in NHS. Next year, he plans to finish his associates and begin his architecture path and either UTA or Carl's. And finally, Miss Karen Velasco and Mr. Graves for football. Karen is the daughter of Maria and Francisco Velasco. She is involved in FCCLA, TAP, NHS, tennis, art club, and football. Her favorite thing about high school is hanging out with friends after school meetings. Next year, she plans to attend prestigious university scholarship and pursue a career in venture capitalism. BT is the son of Douglas and Barry Strickland. He is involved in football, track, and baseball, and is an education intern. Barry's favorite high school memory is the 2022 football season, but he's lucky to make it this year even better. Next year, he will play football in college and major in computer science. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our 2025 homecoming senior nominees. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Drum roll, please. Our homecoming team for 2025 is Eric Hernandez. Drum roll, please. By the way, that's Dr. Felicia Dawson presenting the crowns to our king and queen. And Eric, would you please escort Karen onto the track? Let's give our homecoming corporate candidates a round of applause. We'd like to thank the Everman Football Band and the flag for their help in the ceremony this evening. And a big thank you goes to Mr. Beatty, Ms. Satcher, Mrs. Bush, Mrs. Whitehouse, Mrs. Valero, Ms. Durrell, and especially Mr. Worsley with our giant funds that helped put together homecoming 2025. On behalf of the Everman High School, we thank everyone involved for sharing in our 2025 homecoming ceremony. Enjoy the second half of the ball game. Ladies and gentlemen, in other District 3 5A3 action tonight, at the half, Seguin 21, Burleson 0. At the half, Argyle 21, Timberview 0. At the half, Colonial Heritage 17, the Colony 7. Mansfield Summit is idle tonight. And an update from New York. In the top of the 8th inning, Texas now leads the Mets 8-3. We're not getting any help in Houston, though. They're beating the Braves.
these settings real quick. Let me edit these settings real quick. There we go. Yep.
Second quarter. That was when they scored too, right? So I'll come back and get you caught up with some scores. Then we'll talk about these three, see how long that takes. And then come back here and I might say something like, Coach Smith, he's taking over a program that we mentioned. Okay. Meet up. Okay, thank you, Phil. And we welcome you back to Mustang Friday Night on Tradio, or halftime brought to you by Chill, our title sponsor, Grubb's family of dealerships, as the Mustangs come back on the field, down 6-0 here in Everman at J.E. Morris Stadium. We're going to get you caught up on some scores from District 3 5A Division II, going back to yesterday where Arlington Seguin and Burleson played against each other, and what could be a key matchup as far as deciding on who could maybe get that fourth spot in the top four for playoffs. Arlington Seguin won 21-0 last night over Burleson. And then for tonight's games, Argyle leads Mansfield Timberview 21-0 in the third quarter. Argyle not only a favorite to win District 3, but also possibly a favorite to win 5A Division II as well. Great quarterback and wide receiver combo they have there, always good down in the trenches. The Colony and Colleyville Heritage leads 38-0 in the second quarter. I'm sure Grapevine fans will not be too pleased about that. And then looks like that is all of our scores that we have for District 3 5A Division II, as Mansfield Summit is idle here tonight. So Drew, we go back to our top 3 points of the game, starting with staying out of the penalty box, limiting the flags. And as far as the laundry on the field goes, there's been a couple holdings, some false starts and encroachments, but as far as personal fouls goes, not too much.
Yeah, both sides are keeping it clean in terms of the 15-yarders. With these kind of 5 yards, false starts, 10-yard holding calls, they're not quite drive killers, but they're definitely drive stallers, and kind of keep that offense from getting in a groove.
And we talked about spreading the wealth as far as either Ty Johnson or Jalen Holmes getting the ball to multiple receivers. We haven't seen too much of that yet.
No, not yet. They try to get the running game going a little bit. They had some good runs with Jake Graham, but they want to get that running game open or get going, because that'll open up the receivers and that play action, especially with Jalen Holmes. He's really kind of mastered that RPO scheme with, last year having to run the triple option. He did a lot of reading of the linebackers and the second level guys. So,
well, it's Cade Moreland that's lining up to kick this one away. It's the kickoff specialist for Grapevine, as it's been a combo between him along with Austin Schilling, who we saw earlier in the game attempt that 19-yard field goal that was blocked by the Bulldogs. And we go ahead and we got our whistle, and we are just about underway here with the second half down here in Everman, Texas. And it's a line drive kick fielded just before the 10-yard line, and the return will be brought back to the 30-yard line before a swarm of Mustangs bring him down. I want to let everyone know that our third quarter is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet.
A little bit of a line drive kick there. Grapevine recovery team had to haul down there to kind of make sure that it doesn't get too far down the field.
And our third key point of the game, Drew, we talked about defensively, about keeping everything in front of you, making sure tackles, which really, for the most part, we've seen that except for that one run.
Yeah, absolutely. And keeping everything in front of you, it starts with the linebackers. With this linebacker core, we keep going back to them. But when they're doing their job, it makes everybody else's job that much easier.
So it's Dawson Smith, and speaking of that one run, that was him. That was a 35-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. he's back at the quarterback position. And it's Smith, and he's going to be gobbled up in the backfield. Luke Gormley was the first one to bring him down. It looks like the referees will whistle and say that the forward play had stopped. So Drew just talked about linebacker play. Luke Gormley able to get into the backfield and make that play.
Yeah, waited not to be fooled on the handoff, the option there. Quarterback could have gave it to the running back or keep it. And good job just staying with the football.
We talked about that linebacker crew here tonight. Luke Gormley, who is the leading tackler for the Mustangs at 6'2", 220-pound senior. But we've seen the defensive line here tonight been active as well. So now it's 2nd and 14. Dawson Smith keeps it himself, breaks a tackle. He's out in space. It's a foot race down on the sideline, and he's brought down eventually at the 30-yard line by Jalen Carson.
Yeah, great play design by Everman there, getting to having Dawson Smith follow his big block and take it outside. You know, we keep saying it that he's able to take it to the outside and turn on the jets.
He likes to get out there. Well, he comes up a little hampered, so he's going on the sidelines. There was a 46-yard run by Dawson Smith, the leading runner of tonight. Unfortunately, we do not have stats for you all, but I can guarantee you that Dawson Smith definitely is the lead rusher in tonight's ball game. So in to take his place is LeBron Bowdy. And it's a handoff, and Cedric Hicks wrestles him down to the ground at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, nice push there by the Grapevine D-line. Cedric Hicks there with the tackle.
Cedric Hicks, known for his high motor, makes those first two steps, and it's really hard to block, is how Coach Smith likes to describe him, with his leverage and quickness.
Athletic kid, too. Lacrosse player. My father played D1 ball as well.
Multi-sport kid. You like to see that in high school sports. 2nd and 11, 10:20 left in our third quarter, brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. And it's kept by the quarterback, and that quarterback was Princeton Roberts, and I don't know if that ball actually made it to the receiver. And I think they're going to say it was technically caught.
It stayed up in the air long enough for Luke Gormley to maybe even get a shot at it. One of those kind of freak plays.
Absolutely. It looks like actually they're going to say incomplete. That was Maurice Donald, who was the intended receiver. Well, no, I actually take that back. They're going to say the clock is running, which means it would have been a catch. So Maurice Donald actually comes with his first catch of the night, and now we're under 10 minutes left in the third quarter. 3rd and 11 still, though. 4th play of the drive upcoming. Dawson Smith back at the quarterback position. Fakes the handoff, keeps it on that left side where he likes to go, and he's brought down at the 25-yard line. There is a flag late on that play. Jalen Collins in the vicinity. And for Grapevine, I see Coach Smith talking to the referees, pleading his case. So this probably will go on Grapevine. And again, it came late on that play too. But again, credit Dawson Smith, able to find a little bit of a lane before being corralled by a bunch of Mustangs.
Oh, is it giving you that reset error again?
Referees are still talking it over. And Coach Smith is irate right now down there towards the sideline.
Doing a run, face mask, white number 21, half distance to the ground, automatic first down.
So that'd be Linnell Randolph with the personal foul face mask, a returning starter from last season.
Almost the same side of the exact side of the field in yardage where that first face mask happened earlier in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course it'll be a first down for the Bulldogs at the 14 now. So for Grapevine here, this is their first chance on the field with their defense to start this second half, as the Bulldogs declined receiving the ball in the first half and received it here in the second. It's Dawson Smith again up the middle, and it's the running back, LeBron Bowdy, who keeps the feet moving, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Everman Bulldogs on a 14-yard run. Bowdy, who looks like he was tackled originally, kept the feet moving, and credit to the toughness from LeBron Bowdy to get into the end zone.
Yeah, and the big guys up front pushing him across. Little rugby scrum to get LeBron Bowdy across the goal line there. That was a team effort right there on those 6 points.
But now Everman with the extra point attempt, and keep in mind the first one was blocked. And Everman really wants to talk about this extra point, maybe because, again, they had their first one blocked earlier tonight. So that scoring drive for Everman started on their own 33-yard line to start the second half, and then 5 plays later ended up in a 14-yard touchdown run by Bowdy. So for Grapevine, not to say you got to press the panic button by any means, we still got 8:58 left in the third quarter, but there definitely is a call for urgency.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a sense of urgency from this Grapevine offense. The last drive here, you have the long run by Dawson Smith, and then the face mask penalty really kind of hurt them and put Everman in red zone, red area, and was able to knock it in for the touchdown. So, yeah, if you're Grapevine's offense, you're going to have to go out there and really get in a flow.
Well, we just talked about it, limiting those personal fouls, and then right as we say that, Grapevine makes the mistake of the 15-yard penalty, a face mask, and gives Bulldogs a great field position, and then they go ahead and capitalize. So the extra point attempt is no more. So the Bulldogs are actually going to go for 2 here. And it's a carry up the middle, but Cedric Hicks is there waiting for the ball carrier. And so Grapevine makes the stop again when it comes to trying to collect points after a touchdown. And that leaves our score at 12-0 with 8:58 left. We'll take a short break and come right back as you are watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio.
Conversion is no good.
And we bring you back to J.E. Moore Stadium, Mustang Friday Night on Tradio, with Drew Doherty, former wide receiver for Grapevine. I'm Mason Doherty, here to bring you tonight's coverage. Talked to Coach Smith at the beginning of this season and asked him, hey, what is it like taking over for this program who was really thirsty for a win that they did get last week against Birdville? And he told us it actually kind of reminds him of the first team that he took over back in Mississippi, where they had 16 seasons without a winning record. And then that first year of coaching them took him to a 7-4 year in playoffs for those first 2 seasons.
Kind of shows you the importance of a culture, culture change and how important that is to establish that early on to get things going.
Well, it's the same thing that he was telling us when I asked him what that message was like, talking to his players after that emotional win against Birdville. And he said it's for those guys that went through it last season, to stick with the program, stick with the message, and to come out victorious like they did last week. It's great for the community as well.
Yeah, you need your seniors to buy in.
So now it's a short kick. It's fielded at the 20 by Sanchez. Trying to find some room. Doesn't find much. And he'll be brought down at the 27. And that would be the starting point where Grapevine would take over for the first time on offense in the second half. I'll let you know our third quarter brought to you by Classic Chevrolet, title sponsor tonight, Grove's family of dealerships. District opener tonight and homecoming for Everman. as it's Jalen Holmes, who is a 5'10", 200-pound senior, coming into tonight's game 24-38 for a 63% completion rate, 235 yards passing. Also known for his groundwork too. Lofts it over to Sanchez, tries to get around the corner, and he is stoned right at the line of scrimmage. Credit the defense of the Bulldogs, for the most part here tonight, rising up to the challenge.
Yeah, great play by Devin Proctor there. Keeping contained and laying the boom, really, and kind of setting the tone to try and stop this run offense here by Grapevine.
Yeah, we'll see if Jalen Holmes gets in on the action rushing-wise. He's already got 20 carries going into tonight's game, 43 yards. We still see Jaime Sanchez in the backfield. Might even at one point see Sanchez and Graham at the same time, 2nd and 11. And it's a pass over to Luke Stewart, and just was a little too much for Luke Stewart to be able to bring that down. That's going to bring him a 3rd and long next.
Yeah, Luke Stewart running up the seam. Kind of a one ball there by Jalen Holmes, a little too much speed on it. Could have used a little bit more air to get there, lead him a little bit, but I like the aggressiveness.
Yeah, it just seems like they want to try to find Luke Stewart. And so far, Luke Stewart only has 1 catch, 3rd and 11 upcoming. Trips to the left. Luke Stewart alone. Holmes wanted to look that way at first. Now he rolls out. Wants to go downfield, and might be some miscommunication there. Reming Zhao was the intended receiver, was in double coverage, overthrown, and now that brings up 4th down.
Kind of a broken play there on the Grapevine offense. A couple of receivers slipped up. You see Jalen Holmes first initially looking to the right, kind of trying to get those safeties on that half of the field and come back the other way. Defense wasn't fooled, and then receivers slipping, that just kind of cuts off the timing.
So Jalen Holmes lines up to punt this one away. Back to field this punt for the Bulldogs is Barrington Strickland. Called his name a few times in the first half. Holmes picks up the low snap, line drive punt, and Strickland fields it at about the 45. And now there's a little bit of a rough play towards the end of that play, but to no avail, no penalties. And so we'll keep it right here at 7:51 left in the 3rd quarter. Our score 12-0 here. I mean, for head coach Michael Boone, the head coach for the Everman Bulldogs, entering his 4th year as head coach, 16-19 his record. He had back-to-back trips in the playoffs back in 2022 to 2023, where he went 2 rounds deep 3 years ago and lost in the by-district round back in 2023. But this is his 19th year being at Everman. Coached under the legendary Coach Dale Keeling, his offensive coordinator, Rush Atkinson, and they can be pretty happy what they see here right now. So it's Dawson Smith rolling out to the right, wants to take off by himself, and then runs into Luke Gormley at about midfield along with Cedric Hicks.
Yeah, initially Dawson Smith looking for the pass there. Decided to tuck it and run, get about a 5-yard gain.
So Grapevine trying to regain that momentum that they've had at times in the first half. I want to point out that the defensive lineman of the night for Grapevine has been Durain Butts Jr., my apologies. And number 44 down there has, again, a lot of size that really sticks out from where we are here in the booth. So 2nd and 6. Carey up the middle, able to cut through the defense and picks up a 1st down to about the 40. That was LeBron Bowdy again.
Seeing the impact that 3 and out that the Grapevine offense had is kind of having an impact on this defense as well, with this running the ball, kind of wearing them down a bit. You'd like to see your offense to feel a little longer, give your defense some more air. Let's see if they go with the hockey line change. We heard referencing earlier to get some fresh legs on.
Bowdy, that was a 12-yard gain by him. He's really picked it up here in the 2nd half. As we approach 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Dawson Smith has Davian Miles and LeBron Bowdy side by side to him. Bowdy on that left side, cuts upfield, and then is swarmed by a group of Mustangs. Luke Gormley on the lead tackle, along with Blake Johnson. The Grapevine defense trying to limit the damage here. The offense being shut out right now.
I want to note Jaron Bunce Jr., he's making it very difficult for the center Brandon Dukes from Everman. He's kind of, his first step is already behind the line of scrimmage.
Kind of reminds you of Cedric Hicks down there. 5:48 left, and then it's a fake, and actually Dawson Smith on that right side, and then is swung down at about the 30, which will be what looks to be good for a first down.
Big tackle by Luke Gormley. Dawson Smith is wanting to get to his sweet spot, and that's outside the numbers, run up the sideline. Great tackle.
Yeah, Gormley trying to play pretty much prevent defense, letting up what could have been a big touchdown run. We've already seen one by Dawson Smith tonight. So for Grapevine's defense, again, trying to get some type of footing right now, but the Bulldogs are finding their rhythm right now through the run game.
It's the mentality where you're through the Grapevine defense. You want to have that bend, don't break.
And we're seeing a little bit there on that play as a key tackle made by Blake Johnson again, along with Taden Sneed. Taden Sneed, talk about someone that all-out effort, plays on both sides of the field, starting right tackle for Grapevine, returning starter, former baseball player too. And Coach Smith describes him as a guy that has a lot of focus, and he's got that dog in him too. Had that forced fumble that he caused last week against Birdville. So now it's 2nd and 8. 4:29 left in the third. Here at J.E. Morris Stadium in Everman, Texas. And it's a handoff on the right side, and there's an open gap down to the 5-yard line. That was Davian Miles with the quick burst. So for Grapevine, letting up a huge hole that really cost them.
Yep, the run game has kind of taken a toll on this defense so far to start the second half. I want to give a big shout out to the receiver, Morris Donald there, number 11, with the blocking. He kind of led his guy all the way to about the, right next, about the 4-yard line. A good blocker on that side. You need those receivers to block.
So for Davian Miles, it was a 23-yard gain to make it 1st and goal from the 5. And it's a fumble. Oh, no, it actually was a whistle by the referee. It was a low snap that Dawson Smith did not pick up cleanly. So with that, we'll back them up 5. But if you're the Bulldogs, I mean, you got Dawson Smith that's cooking right now. You also have just now Davian Miles and LeBron Bowdy, who we saw on that last touchdown run. You got a few options.
Yeah, and with the way the holes are opening up, you really do. You get the O-line is creating separation and getting that initial push on this Grapevine defense. And then the receivers, to go back on them, they're doing a good job with their blocking.
Well, for Grapevine, it just takes one turnover here, but Dawson Smith tries to escape, and I think they're going to call a face mask on an attempted tackle by Cooper Towery. And I think, Drew, it's just one of those plays. I mean, you played a little bit of linebacker yourself, and it's just one of those ones where you just try to grab whatever you can, and unfortunately, you grab a face mask.
Yeah, you get caught, and I think it goes with.
Face mask on the defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
To go with these face mask penalties, it does kind of go back to moving your feet and keeping the guy in front of you, because you tend to get a face mask penalty when your arms are spread out and you're kind of reaching. So. Same way with holding, if you think about it that way.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the face mask one sometimes can be a little bit more of an accident than the holding one. But it's going to be 1st and goal now from the 5. As we are under 3 minutes left in our third quarter, brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. And Dawson Smith on that right side runs into Cooper Towery. And Towery with a nice tackle. Stops at about the 3. Now, we've seen some low snaps from the Bulldogs, like we did a couple plays ago, and there was a whistle that stopped that play, but something to look for.
Yeah, they're going to want to get that kind of dialed in a bit. But when you have the talented Dawson Smith, you can kind of improv. That just the play starts with an improvisation. So, sometimes it works out. But your Grapevine defense, you'd like to see one maybe go over his head or skip right past him.
Well, Grapevine's defensive line has had its moments here tonight. Cedric Hicks, Tayden Sneed. So it's 2nd and goal from the 3. It's a run to the outside, and Grapevine's ready for it. Cooper Towery again, back-to-back plays where he's able to make the stop.
That might have been the one time when Dawson Smith decided to run the ball, where maybe shouldn't they had big number 15 Jalen Smith out there on a little flag route, wide open in the back of the end zone. Couldn't quite connect.
So for Grapevine, trying to come up with a huge stop here. We mentioned about their defensive line, Cedric Hicks, also Tayden Sneed. Down there is Blake Johnson right now. Cooper Towery has got the hot hand with the last couple plays making those tackles. It's 3rd and goal from the 4, the 10th play of this drive. And it's a run to the left side, cuts upfield. It's a touchdown, but there is a flag on the play. It's a 4-yard run by Bowdy, but we'll see what the call is on the field. And with that, it's holding so for the Bulldogs. Take it back 10, and that might be, as of right now, the biggest call of the night, penalty-wise.
Yeah, absolutely, especially for the Grapevine defense. They're showing that willpower, bend, don't break, holding them to a 3rd down at the goal line, getting that penalty backs them up a little bit more. Allows opportunity for the defense to come in and get a sack, put some pressure on them.
So there was a substitution that was made for Grapevine, Harrison Bargy, back in the game. So it'll be 3rd and goal from the 13. I think we've only seen the Bulldogs maybe possibly try to pass it only a couple times here.
Watch number 15 here, Jalen Smith lined up on tight end on the right side.
Well, they have Preston Roberts at quarterback right now, and he is scrambling for his life. And he's eventually brought down. I think the refs might have already called him down from the little slip and slide action that he was doing. Who brought the pressure, though, was Brody Henderson. But it looks like actually there might have been a flag instead to draw off that entire play, as the refs converged down in the middle of the field. It looked like Grapevine was ready for that play, and Coach Smith is talking with the referees on what he wants to do, so this might be on the Bulldogs. Get the call.
Illegal formation on the offense. That penalty will be declined, 4th down.
So it looks like they actually had the play run, and the quarterback at the time, Princeton Roberts, fell down on his own. That's when the whistle came in. The flag was thrown, but Grapevine will go in and decline and take it as 4th down.
Yep, yeah, gonna not give them another chance at a 3rd down. They've been aggressive on 4th down too, so they're probably figuring, heck, they may go for it. Let's not give them 2 extra downs.
And that's what it looks like here. The offense stays on the field for the Bulldogs. It's Dawson Smith, and he's just going to take on a miracle mission of trying to do it himself, and Grapevine puts the brakes on as Luke Gormley with the key tackle, and Grapevine comes up with the big stop.
Yeah, what a big stop by Grapevine. It's those kind of defensive stops and defensive trips that really define what your offense is going to be. How are you going to attack, and how are you going to, like I keep saying, bend, don't break. You can get them close to the end zone as long as you don't get them in. And, in Grapevine's benefit, they didn't go for the 3 points. They went for it on 4th, so you got the sudden change. It's going to be interesting how Everman's defense kind of reacts to this as well.
And those couple penalties don't help as well, too.
Yeah, it's just as good as a fumble, an interception. It's sudden change.
So with the turnover on downs, Grapevine takes over on the 19-yard line. It's Ty Johnson that hands it off to Jake Graham. And Jake Graham looked like he had daylight here at the night, and he was brought down after about a 5-yard gain. Yeah,
we were talking about urgency earlier with this Grapevine offense, and they're going to likely take it to the quarter here, but you'd imagine, it's time to kind of get it going into the fourth quarter.
The pendulum might swing, and the play clock, the game clock in that matter, will go down to 0, and that is the end of the third quarter. It's brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. We'll take a break. Our score 12-0. Everman leads against Grapevine. You are listening and watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. The quarterbacks, talk about Jalen Holmes and Ty Johnson. How about the receivers? We talk about the receivers. Good to go back. And we welcome you to the fourth quarter here on Mustang Friday Night on Tradio, where Grapevine trails 12-0, and maybe the pendulum at this point swings over to Grapevine's favor here after causing that key stop defensively in the third quarter to close it out. It's now ball at the 24-yard line, and it's a carry by Jake Graham. Tries to get pushed from his fellow mates at the offensive line position, but he's going to be brought down after maybe a gain of 1. And Drew, we were talking about it over the break, the wide receiver crew, who Rylan Goen has probably been your most go-to guy here so far tonight for Grapevine, but Luke Stewart, always have to be aware of where he's at because they've been trying to get the ball to him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen with Rylan Goen these short, quick release routes, getting the ball out quickly. But you're going to see more of these guys get involved as this fourth quarter goes on.
Some movement from Grapevine's offense. Ty Johnson at that quarterback position. Hands it off to Graham. Graham tries to shake off a tackler. He does, and he bounces it up to the 34-yard line. Good for a first down.
Great effort there by Jake Graham, doing some zigzagging, breaking tackles, and moving north-south. He went, he was going a little east-west there for half a second, turned it upfield, put his foot in the ground, and moved the chains.
8-yard gain. Described as the bell cow running back for the Mustangs this year. A sophomore who did get time at varsity last year.
Now, we were just talking about getting these receivers involved. Right here is a great opportunity for play action. You get the long run. Everybody's kind of pressing. There's no safety deep. So
we'll see if Grapevine wants to take a shot. We've seen a few of those attempts tonight. Graham on that left side falls forward for a gain of 4. So far right now, a slow dose of Jake Graham. The Grapevine has plenty of time. Down 12-0 here. Fourth quarter, of course, just starting. But to your point, it might be at some point where you were going to want to stretch it out a little bit. And again, we've seen them take their shots to Luke Stewart a couple times. If anything, it's just a little miscommunication at times, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there. And they're going to be looking to get that play action more involved here.
2nd and 7. And Johnson wants to go to the wide receiver screen. It's Stewart. Stewart's got blockers in front. He's got a lane. And he's brought down at the 36-yard line. The biggest play of the night passing-wise for Grapevine.
Well-designed screenplay, and I got to give a shout out to Hunter Lux on that play, looking like Landon Dickerson or Jason Kelsey out there rowing down the field and getting his blocks in.
Yeah,
big man moving.
He definitely had a convoy in front of him. That was good for a 27-yard reception for Luke Stewart, and it was really on that same wide receiver route that he had on his first catch back in the first quarter. So now it's Graham on that right side, able to cut up field, break a tackle, and then he's brought down at the 20. good for a 17-yard gain.
Yeah, Grapevine offense seemed to keep getting rolling here. The start of the fourth, offense is clicking on all cylinders. Good play designs and good play calling from the coaches there.
Yeah, it looks like they're causing the Bulldogs to be a little off balance now. This is a Grapevine offense that averages 343 yards per game. Ty Johnson trying to bark in orders to get the defense off sides, but in this case he gives it off to Graham. And Graham picks up a couple.
Good job by the Everman D-line there, kind of just congesting everything, not letting the blocks follow suit and get the hole that Jake Graham was looking for there.
And we've seen Graham, well, I just say that. I said we've seen Graham this whole drive, and then here comes Jaime Sanchez here to give him a breather.
Look for another one of those mesh, the big screen play that we had a couple plays ago. That wasn't your typical just throw it out to your receiver and the receiver's block. The old line was coming.
So 2nd and 8. And it's a keeper by Ty Johnson, and Ty Johnson is going nowhere. The fake was off to Sanchez, and you would think with the running back coming in and Sanchez fresh, they want to get the ball to him, but the Bulldogs were not fooled.
Yeah, no, they weren't. And I think, that was an RPO little read option. Ty Johnson, read the defense. Thought they were going with Jaime Sanchez, but Everman defense played it well.
So 3rd and 9, 7:30 left in our ball game. Also want to let you know that in the first quarter, our first quarter sponsor was Stacy Furniture. I know we had some technical difficulties to begin this game. Johnson drops back to pass, wants to go to the end zone, and it's over the head of Rylan Goen. It's nice coverage by Jere Stafford.
I like the concept flag route going to the end zone. You'd want to see that ball and that route go towards the back pile.
That's very true. And at least in this case, the ball was at a point where only his receiver could get it, but there is a flag on the field. As the refs are discussing it, there's actually a couple flags. And we'll get the call.
After the play, I'm supposed to be like cutting deep on the offense number 55, on the defense number 57. Those penalty offset. 3rd down.
So it's a penalty on Brandon Dukes, the defensive lineman for the Bulldogs, and then at left guard, Andres Garcia.
Correction, it should be 4th down. 4th down.
Coach Smith always said that Garcia had a chip on his shoulder, and sometimes that can get a little reckless. But offset penalty, so now 4th down and 9. Johnson picks up the ball and then wants to go over the middle with it. And it looks like there might be a pass interference, and that looks to be the call as the flag was thrown on the field right at the end of that play. The intended receiver was Chase Carter, who had a nice game, first game of the season with 4 catches, 41 yards against Wakeland.
I think this one might be an easy one to call for the rest here. It looked like that secondary got there just a second too early. Didn't give the receiver the ability to make a play on that ball.
Well, and Grapevine might be due for a pass interference that goes in their favor compared to last week's call that did not. Yeah, that was a little questionable. So just as we say that it was going to be in favor of Grapevine, and there is actually another flag that was just thrown after the announcement, but they decide to pick up the penalty that would have given Grapevine a first down from the pass interference, and from our angle, it looked like that was the right call.
Yeah, I think you could see it from the Yeah, from the, I think you could see that from the parking lot angle, I'll be honest with you. That was a blatant pass interference.
And Coach Smith is having a very deep conversation with the referees because it looked like someone said something after the announcement which caused another penalty.
What happens with these conversations with these refs too, because the flag came from the back judge. That's the ref that should be calling that pass interference is the one closer to the end zone. He didn't throw his flag, so that these refs come together, communicate. The ref with the priority on the call says, "I didn't see it." No, so they kind of over talk and get the call changed.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, white number 9, 15-yard penalty, touchdown.
That's Jake Graham, who looked like he said something as that no flag was called on what we thought was a pass interference. So 7:08 left in the fourth quarter, and you got to think with the Bulldogs up 12-0, they're just going to keep trying to establish that run game. Dawson Smith at quarterback.
It's these red zone trips for this Grapevine offense that was really costing.
So now it's a run over to that left side, up to what looks to be about an 11-yard gain and good for a first down. That's Davion Miles. Now it looks like there might be an injury on the field over on the Bulldog side, so we'll take a break with 7:01 left in our ball game. Our score 12-0, Bulldogs lead. You're watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. It was a player. I think Smith came to try to calm the situation. All right, ready? We bring you back to J.E. Mars Stadium where Everman leads 12-0. They look to try to close out this ball game. And Drew, you hit the nail on the head. It's about missing those opportunities, especially when you have either starting with good field position or ended up good field position by the end of the drive. So it's a carry on that right side, and the Grapevine defense swarms the ball carrier. That was LeBron Bowdy on the carry, but you got a few Grapevine defensive linemen and linebackers in on the play. Luke Gormley was in there. Even Jalen Collins coming in from the secondary position.
Yeah, if you're Grapevine, you like seeing that kind of energy and pop this late in the fourth quarter. The guy's still competing out there. Obviously, game's not out of the question or anything like that, but this far into the game with the way Everman's been running the ball, that can take a toll on this D-line. So, it's a positive sign.
Well, this is a Grapevine defense that is only giving up about 25 points a game. Something you like to see a little bit of improvement on, but here tonight, only 12. So it's a rush, what we thought was up the middle, and then we lost the ball carrier. Luke Gormley makes the hit on Dawson Smith, and then Dawson Smith might be coming up with a little bit of a cramp, and his lid falls off too, so he'll have to sit out at least one play.
A couple of helmets flying off tonight, not strapped up. It's quite tight enough.
So Barrington Strickland will come into the game. We've seen Princeton Roberts sub in for Dawson Smith at times tonight.
Well, that's kind of the big thing with your helmet coming off. You got to come out of the game. You got to come out for at least one play. So.
And it's a key play too, 3rd and 14. So for Grapevine, you just want to be smart here and make sure that you don't let up any big plays or let up a penalty in this matter. But the Bulldogs are going to take a timeout, and we will again take one ourselves with 5:08 left in the fourth quarter. Score 12-0 here at J.E. Mars Stadium. Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. we bring you back to the fourth quarter. 5:08 left in our fourth quarter here in Everman. We want to talk about that linebacker crew that Grapevine has. I know we've been raving about him all game, but especially Cooper Towery, who had a phenomenal game last week with 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 sack, along with a blocked field goal return that, again, we'll call it pretty much a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, they're going to be right behind the leadership. Oh!
That's a big pop by Grapevine. Ball popped up in the air, and it looks like the Mustangs will recover.
But guess who causing that fumble, Mason? Right on cue, Cooper Towery.
Cooper Towery lays the boom, and Grapevine is right back in this game. We talked about possibly getting that turnover to try to swing things back in their favor, and then Grapevine gets that moment. I mean, right at the point of attack, Grapevine just pinned back those ears. They knew it was going to 3rd and long, and able to come up with that big stop, and now great field position.
Yeah, they drawed up a play for Cooper Towery to get in the backfield and lay the boom.
So this is the second best field position starting for Grapevine. Early in the first half was at the 37-yard line. Here's Jake Graham on that left side. He might have no one else to beat. Down at the goal line, he's knocked down at the 3-yard line. Jake Graham with his biggest run of the night goes for 37.
I keep saying it with the sudden change. You want a big play to start. You want to get your offense out there as fast as you can, get set, and have a play like that. And look at the offense. Hurry up offense here.
So 1st and goal from the 3. It's Jalen Holmes that hands it off to Graham on that right side. He falls forward at the 1. Oh, the Mustangs are alive. And keep in mind, Grapevine does have all 3 of its timeouts as well. They line up quickly to the line of scrimmage. It's Jake Graham again, and Jake Graham is in for the touchdown. The Mustangs crack open up the scoreboard and now put themselves right back in this ball game. Grapevine with the fumble recovery, great field position, and on that first play on the drive, that 37-yard touchdown, 37-yard run that eventually led to the 1-yard touchdown run by Jake Graham.
Yeah, how about that? I mean,
extra point kick by Austin Schilling. That ball is up and it is good. And Grapevine now only down 12-7 with 4:28 left in the fourth quarter. We just had a lot of fireworks go off here in the last couple minutes.
if you're the Grapevine defense there, on that stop, on the fumble, you're wanting to just keep them from getting the first down and moving the chains. Sure, they would punt the ball and then you'd have a whole field. That fumble flipped the game on a dime because it immediately sudden change, and then you got Jake Graham and great blocking. I always give a shout out to the receivers blocking because that's not fun to do in practice. And you could tell they practiced that. So great job.
Well, and the thing about it here too is that with Grapevine's wide receivers, they are definitely not afraid to block because they had a lot of practice with it last year in the type of offense that former head coach Bob DeBez was running, that triple option offense, which causes you to definitely block on the perimeter. And Grapevine absolutely now with the momentum as we enter the later parts here of the fourth quarter.
That's a great point on the triple option history with Grapevine, these receivers, because you got to want to block. You got to have that identity in your receiver core room when you're in meetings, watching film. So pays off there.
Cade Moreland, the kickoff specialist for Grapevine, and it's a little pooch kick, and will be fielded at the 35. Might have caught the Bulldogs off guard just for a second, but Princeton Roberts fields it cleanly. And that is where the Bulldogs will take over. So for Everman, who has pretty much for the most part controlled this ball game, now finds himself in a predicament here because, again, Grapevine has 3 timeouts, and you have to think that they're still going to have to try to rely on either Dawson Smith And it looks like actually there's a penalty on the kicking team of Grapevine, so give the Bulldogs an additional 5 yards. And actually, this is good field position to start off for them at the 40. But as I was just mentioning, you have Dawson Smith that they can rely on. They've also given the ball to Davian Miles and then LeBron Bowdy too.
Shows the importance of the turnover battle, how quickly a turnover could flip the game. And, we saw that with Baltimore and Buffalo.
Now Dawson Smith's under center and hands it off to his running back. We haven't seen that much tonight. Cedric Hicks able to make the stop after about a 5-yard gain. On the carry was LeBron Bowdy. You don't always see the quarterback under center in high school. Bulldogs trying to throw out a different wrinkle to their offense. As we approach 4 minutes now left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, definitely try to keep the ball on the ground. That's going to be their game plan here, and kind of power running.
Well, you got big number 44 out there on the defensive line, Jaron Butts Jr. 2nd and 5. With that I back formation up the middle, and the Grapevine defense holds strong. The announcer says a gain at 2. Looks like it might have been actually stopped at the line of scrimmage, but substitution being made. Tayden Sneed comes out for the defensive line unit.
Grapevine sidelines the coach having a word with that line judge on their side. Didn't quite agree with that spot.
It's a little question. 3rd and 3. As now Dawson Smith back in the shotgun formation. Grapevine needing another stop. Brings the pressure. And it's carried on that left side and immediately brought down. It's Cooper Towery. Oh, I apologize. Actually, it's Luke Hecht. Luke Hecht with the play. Those 6s and 8s sometimes look alike, but Luke Hecht coming in from that secondary position and laying the boom. I mean, we've seen some solid tackling here in this fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely stuffed him because he looked like he was going to maybe get a shot. The running back looked like he was going to bounce outside, maybe get a shot to go past the first down. Absolutely electric tackle.
That's 4th and 2. 2:19 left in the fourth quarter. Probably the biggest play of the game here tonight. Dawson Smith under center. Tries to get to the defense off sides. Might just be a hard count. And the play clock goes down to 0. And for that, Grapevine stays disciplined. And the Bulldogs will call a timeout.
Interesting decision here by Everman.
So for the Bulldogs, no timeouts remaining. And we'll see what they do here as far as either keeping the offense on the field, which actually looks like from what we can see here, the offensive linemen are coming onto the sideline, so we might be seeing the punting unit here.
Which would kind of go against what we've been seeing from Everman all day. They kind of been aggressive on 4th down. But with the way that the Grapevine offense kind of clicked there on that last drive, they don't want to risk giving them the ball at the 50-yard line.
So in punting formation for the Bulldogs, back to punt is Michael Victoria. Now for Grapevine, you still have to be careful here about maybe some little trickery going on, especially for suspiciously punting here near midfield. Back to return is Luke Stewart. Victoria gets off the punt. It's a wobbler. And Luke Stewart will watch it dribble at about the 22-yard line. And that's where Grapevine will take over with 1:56 left in the fourth. And we have the 2-minute timeout, and we will take one ourselves with 2 minutes left. 12-7, Everman leads, but Grapevine has an opportunity with a game-scoring drive. Take a break, come right back. You're watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. All right, we ready?
Would you put 156 on the clock, please? 156.
And we welcome you back to Mustang Friday Night on Tradio here at J.E. Marr Stadium. I'm joined with Drew Doherty, former wide receiver for Grapevine, Mason Doherty, with 1:56 actually now left in the fourth quarter, fresh off the 2-minute timeout.
I have a feeling you're going to see a lot of the hot hand Rylan going here on some quick screens just to get the ball in his hands.
It's Jalen Holmes back in the shotgun, finds the receiver. That's Raymond Zal. Picks up about 5 before being wrestled down. Clock still running, but Grapevine does have all 3 timeouts. We've seen a similar situation like this with Grapevine back in the Lakeland game, where they had a chance for a game-leading drive, but came up short. So now Jalen Holmes fumbles it, but ends up picking it back up, finds a receiver towards the sideline. That's Zhao. Going to be about 2 yards short.
Good job by Jalen Holmes being composed, because we keep seeing those low snaps. You know, that's just one bad skip away from running behind Jalen Holmes. So good job kind of improvising there and finding a guy to get positive yards and a manageable third down, obviously 2-down territory.
Well, Holmes definitely has the experience. He's a returning starter from last year. Coach Smith describes him as a phenomenal player who did nothing to lose the job of the starting quarterback in the offseason, as he was the starter here tonight as well. 3rd and 2. Holmes hands it off to Graham on that left side, picks up the first. There is a flag, though, on the play in the vicinity of a hold, and that might be what the call is. Might be called on Andres Garcia.
Those outside runs where those tackles can't quite see where that running back's going.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to cover up.
Referees are still talking it over. Based off Coach Smith's face reaction, this looks to not go in Grapevine's favor. Here comes the call.
Holding on the offense, number 74. Kickoff penalty.
I take that back. It's actually on starting left tackle Jackson Rakisha. Coach Smith also described as a phenomenally talented offensive lineman.
You don't have to get it all back here.
So it's 3rd and 13 now. Holmes rolls to his right, has receiver in the flats. It's Zhao, which of course will not make it, but it will make the 4th down attempt a little bit more manageable if they decide to go for it, which we would most likely think that would be the case. So Grapevine calls a timeout to think things over. We'll call one ourselves. With 1 minute left in the fourth quarter, our score 12-7. Everman leads. You're watching Mustang Friday Night on Tradio. I'll go down. That would be a good way for us to Okay. Ready? And we'll bring you back to J.E. Marr Stadium in Everman, where now it's 4th and 8 for Grapevine. Their last chance at staying alive and putting themselves possibly in a position to take the lead in this game with this drive. Holmes rolls out to the left, throws downfield, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver was Zhao, and it was a great defensive play by Jari Stafford. The Drew just came right at the point where Zhao got his hands on the ball. You can't ask for a more perfectly executed play by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you'd like to see the receiver kind of run towards the ball a little bit there. I was surprised with the timeouts that Grapevine had in their back pocket. They were playing a lot of the sidelines, playing kind of outside the numbers. You know, you can throw something kind of down the seam, get down that timeout. But you know, let's say Everman puts the ball in the air for a little bit. The clock is ticking.
Yeah, I think the referees just heard you there too, Drew, as they will try to reset this clock.
Reset the clock to 53 seconds, please. It starts on the snap.
Refs teaching some football IQ out there.
It's week 3.
Yeah.
Everyone's still learning.
Some football fun facts. But yeah, no, I mean, 2 timeouts in the pocket. You know, they're going to go in big. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in this case, Bulldogs will probably just go ahead and, it looks like, take a knee to close out this game. And the Bulldogs not only will pick up their first points of the game with scoring 12 here tonight, coming in.
Set the clock to 51 seconds, please. Timeout, Grapevine.
So Grapevine does get a timeout in, but coming into tonight's game with no points from their last 2 games, but looks to also get their first win in their first district game tonight.
Yeah, I do find it, maybe my math's not right. I do find it interesting that they're going out kneeing it all with the timeouts that they have in their back pocket. But we'll see, you know, let's see if the clock runs out.
Well, with 51 seconds left, Grapevine, to your point, Drew, does have 1 timeout left.
They would have to run the ball on that 3rd down. Yeah, they don't want to put the ball in the air.
And then for Grapevine next week, they will be taking on Arlington Seguin, who came away with a 21-0 win last night against Burleson. And that's an Arlington Seguin team that's got a lot of speed. Quarterback Chevy Andrews really either spread the ball around or pick up some yards with his feet. And then, just to your point, Drew, the Bulldogs were looking to kill off a little bit more clock than just taking a knee and getting right down on the ground. Able to bleed out a little bit more. We got 43 seconds left now. And Grapevine looks to actually call that last timeout. But yeah, Grapevine had its opportunities. Grapevine had those opportunities, Drew, here tonight, and they had that late push. They had a couple of turnovers that they caused, so from a defensive standpoint, only letting up 12 points. You got to be happy about that side of the field, but for the offense, definitely something that you can go back and go to the drawing boards and try to figure out what went wrong here tonight.
Yeah, you want to look back on those red zone trips. I call it the gold zone, you know, because that's where you want to get. That's where you want to, you know, you go get your points.
The money zone.
Yeah, the money zone, and yeah, they'll look at tape on that, and but you know, I do look back at that. You know, well, the waved off the pass interference that really hurt Grapevine as well.
So now the Bulldogs will go ahead and run what looks to be kind of like a QB sneak again, just to kill off about a few more seconds. So it gets down under the play clock, which it does. So we have 30 seconds left with the play clock at 36. So that will do it here tonight. The Everman Bulldogs will win here at their homecoming at J.E. Marr Stadium, 12-7 against the Grapevine Mustangs.
Yep, and then just a well fought battle by Grapevine. You know, they put up at the second half. Put up that fight. Cooper Towery, electric effort. But yeah, they'll look back on tape and look at those red zone trips and not being able to capitalize.
Well, we want to thank our sponsors here tonight. Our title sponsor, Grubbs Family Dealerships, along with Stacy Furniture, Compass Church, Classic Chevrolet, Chill, Gravemark Insurance, Pat White State Farm. And with that being said, Grapevine, again to your point, Drew, definitely some things to go back and try to correct. And they will be taking on Arlington Seguin next week, as now their record falls to 1-2. Final thoughts?
Yeah, some good things to take away. You know, the way for the Grapevine defense, the way Dawson Smith started really getting in a groove, running the ball. The running offense as a whole for Everman. I'll say Grapevine adjusted to it. they were able to kind of get a game plan going and adjust. And you can see that in the second half. It's a 12-7 game, 12-0 going into half. So you got to be pleased. And just some things to clean up on offense. A lot of season left and a lot of things to work on.
Well, again, we apologize about the technical difficulties we had in the beginning part of this game. Julie bringing it to you. And for Drew Doherty and our producer, Philip, helping us along the way here, that is our final score of 12-7 here in Everman. Good night, everyone.